One of my most favorite words, and actually it's the meaning of the words, and actually it's the experience of this particular word that I love most, is what all of today's Moments of Grace will be about. Come join me as we explore the power, the meaning, and the experience of synchronicity. Come on in. So welcome once again. I'm Harck, and this is Moments of Grace on Tombra TV. I want to spend a little bit of time with you today inviting you into a more deep, profound, joyous experience of being present for synchronicity. So what really is synchronicity? It's a term actually that was coined by a man that I think must have been quite brilliant. His name was Carl Jung. You may have heard of him. He's one of the fathers of modern psychology. But there's a few places where Carl Jung broke away from some of the early developments of psychology. And one of the things that he explored and discovered and documented was this phenomenon that he labeled synchronicity. Synchronicities are those moments that when you look at them and you think, could cause and effect really have created this? Maybe not. Cause and effect is that kind of Newtonian, everything has an equal reaction to the cause that created it. And that's kind of cool. We can see how that happens. But synchronicity has an undefinable quality about it. And the reason that I want to talk to you about it on Moments of Grace, and maybe not on one of the other shows, is because when you develop an appreciation for and a presence for the moments of synchronicity that repeat throughout your day, throughout your life, you can develop greater capacity to manifest. You can create more beauty. You can create more peace. You can create more sight. You can create more intimacy. The point is that you can create, and you do it from an appreciation for the magic that you are making. See, one of the things that I love about synchronicity is that we can't necessarily say this caused that. It may not be that you want to manifest something or that you're trying to attract something. You're simply noticing the connecting pieces that may not have cause and effect related. Now, another interesting tidbit about synchronicity is that it's not always noticeable in the moment. The synchronicity often comes in through intuition, through an imagined sensation perhaps in the body, or a heightened sense, or a softened sense, an understanding perhaps, or through a dream image, or through a series of moments that don't seem completely disconnected, but they're repeating something to you, or bringing something to your attention, or reflecting to you. In a future episode, I'm going to talk about reflection and resonance, but we'll get to that later. One recent story I heard about synchronicity was from a client I was working with. The work that I had suggested to her as her personal practice was the Breath of Love. If you haven't received your own copy of the Breath of Love, you can find a link for it somewhere here. It's a free gift for me. But the point of this is that I assigned her this experience because it was clear to me that having an internal personal experience of the energy of love would be deeply and soulfully nourishing to her. Now, she was struggling with the practice, and she had started to turn the idea of love into this very narrow romantic love idea. And so she was rejecting the practice and rejecting the practice. And so we got on the phone for our next session, and she shared with me, I don't know why I have that practice, which is not an uncommon experience when someone is on the cusp of exploring into new capacities in themselves, as they'll start to reject that new thing that's coming. You might recognize that in yourself. And so she shared this story with me, and we kind of set it aside for a moment. But then she went on to say, the most amazing thing happened. I was sitting in my living room, and the French doors were open, and a hummingbird flew right in the house, flew around right in the middle of the room, looked right at me, chirped its little voice, and then left the room. And I thought, oh my God, I've never had a hummingbird come in the room before, much less sing to me. That was amazing. Next day, another beautiful day. She has the back doors open to her patio, and again, in comes a hummingbird, flies around in the center of the living room, right in front of her, faces her straight on, sings its song to her, and turns around and goes back out. And then the third day, it happened again. So when she got on the phone with me and said, I didn't do my practice, I don't understand this practice about love, I'm breathing in love, but I had this hummingbird. And then we explored the experience of the hummingbird that she felt. The hummingbird felt blissful and joyous and like a miracle, which is also the energy that a hummingbird carries, which was the whole point of her doing the breath of love. So the synchronicity was she'd started off with this practice of breathe in love, breathe out love, breathe in love, breathe out love, and then started to reject love. And in flies the hummingbird to say, no, love is this, love is this. It's all a miracle, love is this. Now, I haven't had the joy of a hummingbird come fly into my living room and chirp to me, but I've had many moments of synchronicity, of things that seemed surprising and repetitive often, and aligned with an earlier conversation, an idea that maybe I had been journaling about, something that may have come up for a client, something that I was maybe puzzling and trying to find the answer to. I've also heard people share with me stories from their dreams, you know, their sleeping dreams, of the images of something that was surprising or unusual, and then seeing a reflection of it in a movie or in a novel they were reading, or while they were out in nature, or a conversation they overheard when they were at a busy restaurant. These moments of synchronicity are surprising, but only when we notice them. And the point I think that's delightful about them being surprising is that it keeps us lighthearted about them. When we get to feel jaded, perhaps, and you may have had this experience too, of saying, well, of course, that's always been there. But it wasn't there because you hadn't noticed it until you noticed it. And in the noticing, you become present for more synchronicity. It helps its own momentum. So one of my suggestions for you in today's moment of grace is to begin to track or log your experiences of synchronicity. And you might find that they have chain reactions that are surprising, even though they're not cause and effect. What I imagine is that as you become more present for and celebratory of the synchronicities that occur in everyday life for you, you will also, most likely, find that more of them happen, and you can develop a more attuned sense to creating grace, joy, love, intimacy, wealth, prosperity, health, well-being, whatever it is that you're putting your attention on creating. I'd love to hear about your stories of synchronicity. I'm sure that you have countless examples, and if you don't yet, if you begin this practice, you will. And I really would love for you to share them with me. It helps not just me know that you're hearing what I'm talking about, but it helps you be witnessed by not just me, but everyone else who finds this page as well. So share with me, will you? What's an example of synchronicity? Or what are you struggling with or finding difficult about seeing, feeling, experiencing, noticing, considering the truth of or experience of synchronicities? I truly do appreciate your support and engagement here as we are together creating moments of grace for ourselves, each other, and for all the world. Until next time, my friend, be well. Also, if you're on YouTube and you do that sort of thing, will you subscribe to our page? It helps us reach people around the world who will be inspired, uplifted, find insight, and perhaps some soul love and maybe a little nudge